listening to The Cell on WGRN 94.1, brought to you by the Faith Thomas Foundation. Good evening, everyone. This is Felice Thomas, president of the Faith Thomas Foundation, and I'm so glad that you could join us this evening. I have with me today my co-host, Chanel Woods.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, welcome, Chanel. And I also have my producer, Katie Pettiford.
Hi.
With that all being said, let's get it started. I just wanted to remind everyone that April is Minority Health Month, and you can visit www.columbus.gov/public health programs minority health. There are quite a few interesting events which are taking place this month. So if you get a chance, go visit that webpage and support Minority Health Month. We're going to spend the rest of this broadcast talking a little bit more about sickle cell.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's really important, and I think people really want to know, those that don't know anything about sickle cell, is like, where did it derive? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Sickle cell derived from Africa, and during the malaria outbreak, they discovered that there were some individuals who were not getting necessarily sick or dying from malaria, and that's when they discovered that those individuals were carrying the S gene, and therefore they realized that the S gene was serving as a protector to those individuals that were from malaria. The other individuals that got the malaria, they were dying. Now, sickle cell disease is not only an African American disease. About 90% of those with sickle cell are African Americans, and the other 10% are individuals with ancestors from Africa, India, Central and South America, and individuals from the Middle East, the Caribbean, the Mediterranean nations such as Italy, Greece, Turkey, and France.
Wow. So sickle cell disease, it sounds like it's a global issue, with close to, I understand, about 300,000 babies born annually with the disease?
Yeah, that's
that
what
right?
the CDC says, yes.
Wow, okay. So is sickle cell something you can catch? That's the question of the day.
That's a myth that you can catch sickle cell, and that's not true. Sickle cell is actually inherited.
Oh, okay. How do you inherit it?
Basically, you have one parent that has the S gene, and that's called sickle cell trait. And then the other parent has the regular hemoglobin, which is called an A gene. And then those individuals, if they have children, they just have one child that will have either, possibly, they would pass on the sickle cell trait disease. Then what happens is that you have two parents that actually carries the S gene, and then the other parent carries the S gene. And when they get together and have children, there's a 1 in 4 chance that their children will end up with the disease or having the trait. And let me give a quick example of that. So we have 4 children that the parents have had. Both parents carry the S gene. So one of their children can end up actually having the actual sickle cell disease. The other child might end up just having the S trait. Then the other child might not get past either of the genes, and there's nothing wrong with them.
Okay.
So, and then their fourth one could have one of those 3. But yet, it's basically the genes are being passed on. And there's other forms of sickle cell disease, and there's one called SC, and that means that one parent has the S trait, and the other parent has the C trait, and then they pass on SC disease. And then there's a third one. These are the 3 common ones. The other one's called sickle cell that pass on the S trait, and then the other one is beta thalassemia, which is another form of sickle cell disease.
Wow. Lot of letters there. So what I understand is those that carry the S trait, like you said, they don't have the disease. However, they can have problems, like when they're participating in sports and things of that nature. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And that's a whole nother broadcast that we're going to end up doing later on down in the show. We're just going to strictly talk about sickle cell trait and how various different things impact those individuals, because it has always been that people thought that if you had sickle cell trait, that there was not a problem. There was no problems with that particular child. So doctors and mothers and fathers wouldn't really put much emphasis on that child that had the sickle cell trait. But they discovered over the years that people that have sickle cell trait are actually having problems, while they're participating in sports. So with that being said, that's a whole nother broadcast.
Mm-hmm. So, I did a little research. I wanted to get a little bit more versed and understand. And I found that there's over 100,000 individuals living in the U.S. with sickle cell disease.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and about 2,000 born per year.
Correct.
That's a lot. So there's also, I think, about 2.5 million individuals that have the SCT.
That's sickle cell trait. That's correct.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the average lifespan currently is 45 years within the United States and 25 years worldwide.
Wow.
And I remember when my daughter was born, they had already told me that she would not live long. And that was kind of upsetting to me. And I was definitely trying to have her have a full life because I didn't know how long she was going to live. But I didn't expect it to be at the age of 11. I was hoping that she would be around for a while. But considering the medicines and things that they had back in 2000, from 1990 to 2002, they have come so far. And the quality of life has definitely improved, with medicines.
Yeah, well, that's encouraging for sure. And so I want to know, and there might be others that want to know, how many types of sickle cell disease are there?
There's a total of 3, which I previously explained. And then there's, like you said, there's a lot in the alphabet. Actually, there is.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
There is an E, there is an O, and there's a D. Those are rare types of sickle cell disease, and not very many people get those. But yet, they still do occur, and they can be just as severe, or mild, because what I didn't explain is that SS, which is sickle cell disease, is the more severe case that the patient will go through, or an individual will go through. They'll have much more pain crisis, and have medical issues. SC is another form, like I said, about sickle cell, but with FC, the patient doesn't get as sick as often as an SS, but when they get sick, they're just as sick. And then you have beta thalassemia, which is another form of sickle cell, and there's an O and a plus with that, and one is severe and one is mild.
Okay.
And then, like I said, you have the rares, which is E, D, and O.
So kind of go back. When you say pain crisis, what do you mean? I think a lot of our listeners, or some of our listeners, may not know what that means.
Okay. In our previous episode, we kind of talked about, I just want to remind everyone, I don't know if you guys remember or not, when you were kids, how you used to take that rubber band and place it around your finger like several times, and you're sitting there in class, and then you keep it on, and then all of a sudden your blood start getting cut off from your finger, start swelling, you start feeling that pain. Well, that's what a pain crisis is like for an individual with sickle cell. Basically what it is that the blood cell loses its oxygen, it depletes, so then the blood cell actually turns into a sickle, the shape of a sickle, and when it's trying to travel, I think I gave an example of a straw, trying to travel through a straw, they kind of get clogged up in there, and that's just still visualize that rubber band on your finger. So the blood's not flowing through your finger, and if you left it on your finger's probably going to
turn blue,
all these other colors. So just imagine that the blood's not getting to your organs. And blood carries oxygen. It carries oxygen to your organs. When those blood cells deplete its oxygen and turn into sickles, they do not carry any form of oxygen. They therefore cause a clog in the system, which cuts it off from reaching the organs, and then the organs get damaged. And with that, just once again, think of a flower that does not get water, just like your heart does not get water. It's going to get damaged. And the form of treatment for that happens to be pain medication and IVs. So to loosen up, to push those sickles through, to unclog it, and sometimes it might take a few days. It just depends on how severe the crisis is. But if that continues to happen, that organ continues to go into shock, continues to have problems, and then what you hear about is that all of a sudden an individual that has sickle cell they're having kidney failure, they're having heart failure, they're having blindness, they're having all these other type of issues because the sickle, the blood not reaching the organ is dying, where the organ will actually eventually end up dying, period. And then it depends on which organ it is and whether or not the individual can continue to live.
That sounds like a lot to go through. But you know what? I see those with sickle cell, and they don't look like they have sickle cell, or they're dealing with the pain that you're talking about.
Yeah, that part is true. I mean, a lot of people, there's the misconception that people with sickle cell are faking, but it's no different than an individual who happens to have a heart problem and they come in the house or come someplace or go out and their hair's done and they're looking good, or a person that has diabetes that still dresses. Not everybody complains about everything that's going on with them. And then the majority of the time, when an individual with sickle cell has a crisis or has a problem, they're most of the time in the hospital. So therefore, they're out of sight, out of mind, and you might wonder what have happened to that individual, why you haven't seen them. And a lot of people with sickle cell do not like to necessarily share that they have it because of the stigma that goes behind it.
So, you know what? How can people learn more about it? Because it seems like a lot of information, and it's really interesting. I know it was really interesting to me when I joined the board. How can people find out more about sickle cell and sickle cell trait?
Well, how they can find out more is that one of the resources that I use is CDC. CDC is a good website for all different types of diseases and things that go on with the body. In addition to that, they can always work with Children's Hospital or OSU Medical, and they can also talk to their own physician. And you can visit the Faith Thomas webpage. We have some information. So that's how they can kind of find out more about sickle cell disease. To learn more about sickle cell trait or sickle cell disease, please visit the Center of Disease Control, which is CDC, and that's at www.cdc.gov. Sickle cell.
All right, Felice, thank you so much for that plethora of information. I'm sure that those that are suffering with the disease or know those that are suffering with the disease will find the resources that you provided really, really helpful. So thank you for that. So I just want to remind you, you're listening to The Cell on WGRN 94.1, the station to listen to. We have a few upcoming events this year, and I want to share those with you. So actually coming really, really soon on April 21st, we have our Wellness and our Safety Fair, and that's going to be at Woodward Park Community Center. That will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And Woodward Park Community Center is located at 5147 Carl Road. That's Columbus, Ohio, 43229. And we're going to have lots and lots of vendors there.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming, right?
Long time coming.
Yeah. Who's going to be there? Be the Match is going to be there.
Be the Match. Black nurses are going to be there. OSU's going to be there. Franklin
United
County
Healthcare.
Children's Services. United Healthcare. Yeah.
Yeah. Action
We're
for
going to be
Children.
there.
We're going to be there. We'll be in
For
the house.
sure.
Whoop, whoop.
We'll be in the house. That's for sure.
That's right. And then we're actually partnering with Intensity Basketball Academy.
Correct. Along with Woodward Park Community Center.
Yeah.
So I want to shout out to both of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for that. This is our inaugural Wellness and Safety Fair.
Yes. Our first.
Yeah.
So come be part of our first.
Not using fancy words there, huh? Just say
Nah.
the first.
The first.
What else is coming up? So on Saturday, June 16th, we are going to have our Father's Day bowling event.
Well, you know, it happens to fall on Father's Days this year.
But it's not for Father's Day.
It's not for Father's Day. We weren't able to get our regular April, which is normally after the spring game. So because Columbus Square Bowling Alley has a bowling event going on. So it just so happens that we have to do it in June, and it happens to be the weekend of Father's Day. So why not bring your father out to vote?
Yeah, celebrate the men out there in the world that are, doing good things for their children.
Yeah, and support the Faith Thomas Foundation and one of our fundraisers.
At the same time.
That sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
My husband, who's a father, going to be there.
Yeah.
I think your dad.
My dad's going to be there.
Yeah, so Father's Day. Come
my
on
dad
out.
against your husband.
I think
Showdown.
my husband. Wait, so that is a showdown because this will be that's going to be a showdown. They be fighting for them trophies.
Yeah, so come out and see that. So we're going to be hosting that event from 5:30 to 8 p.m. and it's going to be at 5707 Forest Hill Boulevard. That's Columbus, Ohio 43231. And you said that is the Columbus
Bowling Palace.
Columbus Bowling Palace.
Columbus Square Bowling Palace. I'm sorry.
Get it right.
Yeah,
now.
I got to get it right.
Yeah.
That might not be right either. But anyhow, it is right.
All right. So we're going to have teams going, and they're actually they're going for trophies, right?
That's correct.
So
First,
they're
second, and third. Yep.
Mm-hmm. We're going to provide each team with a coupon for pizza and soda.
Yep.
So you'll get to bowl, so get some physical activity in, and you'll get to eat.
And have bragging rights.
And have bragging.
Talk plenty of mess.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy walking up and down those aisles talking a lot of mess. I love egging it on. Bring it on.
That's what you do.
I sure do.
Yeah, I have to get you on Facebook Live.
Yeah,
on our
honey.
Faith Thomas Foundation page.
Yeah. I'm going down to each one and talking a little junk. I have fun. I do.
I know. While Katie and I run around and serve pizza, huh?
Isn't that one of those voluntoads?
That's the voluntoad.
That's the voluntoad.
You good at the voluntoad.
Hey, y'all told me to let go. I let go.
You gotta let it go.
Let it go.
Just like another love.
Yeah.
No.
But I leave it up to y'all too. I enjoy my little role that y'all put me in.
Yeah, I know.
Meet and greet.
Mm-hmm. You are in your zone. All right. So we also have on Friday, September 7th, we are going to be hosting our annual, and this will be our 5th annual, right?
That is correct.
5th annual Red Diamond Gala, and that's going to be from 6:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Creekside Conference and Event Center. The address is going to be 101 Mill Street, and that's in Suite 300. That's Gahanna, Ohio 43230. So that evening, it's really going to be filled with lots of fun, lots of excitement. We're going to have music. We'll have silent auction, dinner, cash bar, and a DJ. Yeah. So if you want to cut a rug,
come on.
Come on out.
Yeah, we had fun last year. I know that I did, and it's really kind of crazy. I'm wondering what y'all going to do to me this year. Are y'all going to put a chain on the book to stop me, from ad-libbing? I do a lot of ad-libbing, folks. I don't follow the script.
I'll stick to the script.
I think they're going to put a chain on the book. They might even get me, what do you call those people? That do it for you, MC.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, he better look good. Because he definitely going to have...
candy?
Yeah, I want some eye candy. I'm going to have to twirl him around, honey. I'm going to do it right in front of my husband, okay? What's she talking about?
What kind of show is this turning into? I'm scared.
Be scared, honey. Be scared, especially if y'all put a chain on there and tell me I got to have an MC.
Yeah.
But
last year was great. It was, our topic last year was the power of passion.
Yes.
Yeah, which it was full of a lot of passion. It was.
A
lot of people telling their stories. You brought a girl in from, what was it, Texas?
Texas, yes.
Yeah, her story was very compelling.
Yeah.
It was very compelling and overwhelming. I think there wasn't a dry eye in the room.
No.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, so.
And the special thing about the Red Diamond Gala /dance, because I want to cut a rug, after we get done, I want to let loose and let off everything that we've done so far. It's just time to network and have a good time. But the purpose of the Red Diamond Gala is to raise funds for both OSU and Nationwide Children's Hospital sickle cell programs. Mm-hmm. So it's not only that it's just about being educated about sickle cell and us having a special topic to talk about, but you get the time of having during the reception hour. We have a guy who plays the piano. Just a time to chill and dress up if you choose. Yeah, you got to at least come halfway, decent, clean, got to be a little clean.
Dress to impress.
Opportunity, that's right, opportunity
so fresh
to
and
dress.
So clean.
But it's a good time to support OSU and Nationwide Children's Hospital, the sickle cell programs.
Yeah. So we partnered with OSU again this year, right?
Yes, and
That's
Nationwide
huge.
Children's Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was a blessing. And as always, we're hoping that we raise more funds in 2018 that we did in 2017, which means that we can give more money to their programs.
Absolutely. So I'm excited about this year's topic, though. This year's topic is, drum roll, please. Cure or no cure?
That is the question. That is serious a question. That is something that comes up. I have people come up to me all the time, send me emails and say, hey, they found a cure for sickle cell. And then I have to explain that, yes, bone marrow, there's been a lot, like I said, there's been a lot of changes within medicine since my daughter died. I wish it would have been around when she was living. Mm-hmm. I just happened to meet a young lady that has son who is my daughter's age, and he had the actual bone marrow transplant, and it's been a success for him.
So he's the age that Faith would have been today.
Yeah, in that age range.
20s?
No. And he was the age when she passed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that kind of hit
close to home.
Close to home. But, I wish it could have been around, when she was living. But as they say, there's a purpose and reason for everything. Mm-hmm. And, but anyhow, getting back on cure or no cure, because y'all getting ready to start making me get all, teary-eyed and everything like that, talking about my daughter, because it still impacts me.
I know.
Just like it was yesterday. But we were talking about cure or no cure, and with the bone marrow transplant, not everyone can get the transplant. So it's not a universal cure, because you have to qualify, you have to be eligible, you have to meet certain criterias, just like you do for anything else. And if you don't meet those criterias, you cannot have the transplant.
So do you know what are some of there's some pros and some cons, of course. Do you know what some of the downside is to it?
Outside of not being able to have the transplant, I do believe that there are some other issues that can happen to the recipient and the actual person who's donating.
We can talk about that in another show.
That's a whole nother different show. As a matter of fact, I'm hoping that the young lady whose son had the actual transplant, she has agreed to come and speak. So it's just a matter of time when we put her on one of our shows and we can talk about cure or no cure. And who knows, she might end up being one of our speakers at in our Red Diamond Gala.
Nice.
Yeah. Along with Be the Match. It's so important with Be the Match that you take the time to get tested, not only for sickle cell, but there's all type of diseases that use bone marrow, even cancer, for cures. So they've come a long way with it, and Be the Match is going to be at our health fair event.
Woo!
So
Are they testing people?
Yes, she's testing.
Nice.
So hopefully you guys can come on out on April 21st and get tested, to see whether or not if you could be a match for somebody.
Well, that's a perfect segue, because I really wanted to talk a little bit, just take some time to talk about knowing your status and how important it is. Okay, so there's a lot of people that they don't actually know their status. They don't know what their status is. They don't know if they have the sickle cell trait or one of the other gene types, such as C, beta thalassemia, E, D, and O. When those are paired, or when paired with an S gene, it can actually cause some form of sickle cell disease, right?
That's correct. That's just like what happened with me and my husband. Like you said, taking the time to know your status. I mean, I did not know what my status was, which I have hemoglobin C disorder. My husband did not know what his status is, which happens to be the S trait. And my son, or our son, shall I say, I have a tendency to say my son. You know how women, when they have babies, they claim theirs. Yeah. But anyhow, our son did not get past either trait. So his kids will never have, because once again, sickle cell is not something that you catch.
Right.
It is something that's inherited. So his kids will never have it. They'll never pass the gene on.
Myth busted.
Myth busted. But however, Faith just happened to get both of them. And so therefore she had SC. And the Ohio Department of Health created a campaign that's Take the Time to Know Your Status, exactly what you said. So that's one of Faith Thomas Foundation's biggest thing when we go out to the health fair, is that we encourage people to get tested.
Yeah, hashtag TTKS.
TTKS.
Yes. You don't forget to add the hashtag in front of it.
Hashtag
No, I'm teaching her.
TTKS.
Yes. Take the time to know your status, and get with your primary care physician and ask them just to do a simple blood test to help you find out if you carry the gene or not.
Yeah, just like Chanel was talking about, that you need to know what your gene types are. And you just need to know that if paired with another gene, especially if the person ends up having the S gene, whether or not, what is going to be
the impact
of you having children.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say don't have children. Believe me,
status.
I'm not saying that. But it's just that you have to have the knowledge on your tool belts to know what are the chances or percentages that you might have children that end up carrying, this particular type of disease, so that you're prepared to be able to care for that child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And also educate the child in what it is that they have, because there's a lot of parents who don't share with their children that they have the S trait, because remember, there was a thing back in the day that no one ever had to worry about S trait. They just don't communicate it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when individuals get older and they start to have kids, they find out they have the S trait because their parents never educated or shared with them.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
So true, so true.
Yeah. So what's up next?
Well, we have a lot of health fairs and things going on out there we're getting ready to participate in. And
those are always fun.
Yes, they are. It's so exciting because you never know who you're going to end up meeting. And it's so great to be able to know that the Faith Thomas Foundation is out there educating individuals on sickle cell, dispensing, those myths that they have in regards to can you catch it, if I touch you, or, I mean, that was one of the things that little kids tend to ask. If I touch him, can I catch it?
What's always interesting, though, is when we're at the health fairs, the different individuals that walk up to the table and they're like, well, what do you do? And we say, we're Faith Thomas Foundation. We bring awareness to or about sickle cell. And they're like, I think a cousin of mine has that.
Exactly.
They're always in the hospital.
Right.
Or, I remember a young girl came up to us sometime last year, and she actually has sickle cell. And, she wanted to talk to people. She wanted to inspire people and encourage them to keep going. You can live as normal of a life as possible. So it's always really, really nice to share and listen to those stories.
Yeah. The Faith Thomas Foundation does take volunteers, so you can always log onto our webpage, and go up under information or volunteers and, let us know that you want to participate in some of our health fairs or activities with us.
Yeah, come out and fight the good fight with us.
Yes. With that being said, I want to just take the time to thank Chanel and Katie today.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
Cutting up with you.
Yeah, honey. And Katie's sitting over there. She cutting up, but y'all just don't hear her, see her.
Oh, you have no idea.
Oh, yeah. She's made me, all them laughs you heard, that's Katie making faces to me in the background. So once again, thank you, Chanel.
Oh, yeah. Anytime.
Thank you, Katie. Well, that's the end of today's show. I want to thank you for listening to The Cell on WGRN 94.1. You can find us on Facebook or at faiththomasfoundation.org for more information on our upcoming events. Join us every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. here on WGRN.